Partly cloudy this afternoon, 25, with the 4 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamare.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
The Premier's announced an overhaul of COVID restrictions in SA. From Friday, masks will no longer be compulsory indoors. The exceptions are on public transport, in airports, hospitals, jails and visiting disability and aged care facilities. A ruling on masks in schools is pending. Peter Malinowska says they scrutinise the latest COVID data before locking in the changes.
The key numbers that we keep our eye on more than anything else is the rate of hospitalisation, or the number of hospitalisations that is occurring here in South Australia, which has been consistently hovering around that 200 mark now for a sustained period.
SA has recorded 4,401 new COVID cases today and 6 deaths. Passengers are being urged to get to the airport several hours early if they're heading away this Easter. There have been major travel delays interstate, and with the start of school holidays in SA, there'll be a surge in travellers. Brendan Cox from the Adelaide Airport says Thursday will be a test, with 25,000 people expected through the airport.
Everything will work if we don't get layers of things going wrong. The worst thing that can happen is that you spend a bit more time in a lovely redeveloped terminal, but really just asking for a little bit of additional pre-planning than you normally would.
The Prime Minister is wrapping up a whirlwind visit to 3 marginal Western Sydney seats. Michael Packy is on the campaign trail.
Scott Morrison's last stop for the day is here at Assistance Dogs Australia headquarters in the Liberal-held seat of Lindsay. The government is committing $2 million to train 120 dogs a year, designed to help veterans with PTSD, children with autism and people with a physical disability. Mr Morrison needs to secure seats in Western Sydney to offset potential losses elsewhere. He's also visited factory workers in the marginal Labor electorates of Parramatta and Macquarie, which the government is hoping will shift to the Liberals on election night. So far, Mr Morrison's campaign has been highly controlled, with the Prime Minister yet to meet and greet voters on the street.
More than 10,000 civilians are believed to have been killed in the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol since the Russian invasion began. The Austrian Chancellor has told Vladimir Putin all those responsible for war crimes must be brought to justice. He has become the first Western leader to hold face-to-face talks with the Russian president. People with O-negative blood are needed ahead of this Easter long weekend. In the past year, reserves of the emergency blood type have plummeted to their lowest level. Gemma Falkenmeyer from the Red Cross says donor centres will stay open over Easter to boost supply.
We really need more people of that blood type to roll up their sleeves in the coming 2 weeks. And we do know that a lot of people out there don't know their blood type and don't know that they can help. We'd really say, please come and donate and find out if you might be one of those people who can help with these emergency blood stocks.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport. The AFL is searching for its 4th chief executive, with Gil McLachlan to stand down at the end of the year. His 8 years at the helm of Australia's biggest sport has seen the formation of the AFLW, attendance and membership records smashed, and the participation boom in New South Wales and Queensland. An external company will assist in finding his replacement. Chairman Richard Goyder says he's comfortable if the code's new boss comes from outside the AFL or within.
I feel really good about the quality of people we've got within the AFL system right now, in terms of AFL House and in the clubs. I feel we've got people who are more than capable of taking over from Gil, and then we'll go through a process, and there may well be others that come to hand and we'll have a look at.
And Adelaide United are in action tonight against the Sky Blues in Sydney. Both teams are level on points coming into the clash. Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
At Mitchell Park, collision there, Alawoona Avenue near Bradley Grove. Another smash at Mount Barker, this one, Bald Hills Road near Springs Road and Morford Vale. A crash on Baines Road at Main South Road. Dry Creek, there's a collision and a chemical spill. That's on Cormac Road at Churchill Road North. Restrictions in place for the drive home. Cameras Grange Road Grange, Torrens Road Kilkenny. Driving confidence is all about the tyre you choose. Trust Hankook tyres for safety, performance and reliability. Ask for Hankook at your next tyre change. Hankook tyres save fuel. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Partly cloudy this afternoon, 25. Sunny tomorrow, 28. Thursday, partly cloudy, 28. And Friday, much the same, 27. Right now, it's 21. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
Masks off for most South Australians, but not all. Tonight, what you need to know. Why your electricity prices could be about to soar. The dangerous trailer ride in Adelaide's north that has to be seen to be believed. We have the vision. And the supermarkets launch a seafood price war. How you'll be the winner. I'm Brenton Raglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
This is Roey's Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Leith Forrest.
Well, hi everyone, welcome along to the show. 6 minutes after 4. Need to correct that. There is no Stephen Rowe. He is unwell, which I know will disappoint a lot of people wanting a response to the arrow. Plenty of time for that tomorrow. In the meantime, what's the old saying? Next man up. Two-time Hall of Fame Mark Bickley is here. Bix, welcome.
Good afternoon, Leith. Good afternoon to everyone who's tuning in. To coin the phrase of someone else, it's been a big day in footy.
Oh boy, you get the Eddie Maguire hand rub together. Hasn't it just? Let's start with that big news in the AFL. The CEO at the end of the season, Gil McLachlan, is stepping away.
I'm leaving now because it feels right. Right for the AFL, right for me, right for my family. I like to reiterate what I said when I accepted this role, that it's an honour and a privilege to serve this game. Best game in the world. That's why everyone loves it so much. The responsibility's never been lost on me, and I feel good that the game's in better shape now than when I took over, but the scoreboard will be for others to judge.
Got a bit emotional today, Gil.
Yeah, he's normally so cool and composed, and it just goes to show when you effectively put 9 years of your life into something, and this job is 24/7. There aren't any days off. You go on holidays, I'm sure you're still in touch with everything that's going on. So he's invested a lot into the AFL, and I guess when you decide that the time's right, you're going to step aside, then it probably does mean a fair bit too. And I think that it'll judge him pretty well in terms of what he's able to do. I think he was probably getting very close to doing it just before COVID hit, and then you couldn't do anything in the middle of that because you'd be walking away from the game when it's at its most vulnerable. So I think he really, any petrol tickets that he had, he really spent all of those to get the game back into a place where it was safe again, where it was under control, and he's now got, he can see the finish line. He's got a couple of big things that he needs to do first, though.
Well, not just the biggest job in Australian sport, it's one of the biggest jobs in Australia, full stop. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. You mentioned he's still got a bit of work to do. This is Richard Goyder today at the presser.
What Gil has done, and it's typical of Gil, is he's committed to a significant plan for 2022. And he's committed that he and his team will do a new broadcast deal. We'll do CBAs for men and women. Club funding model, we'll put a position to the 18 clubs on Tasmania, and we'll get the men's and women's seasons away as best we can through 2022. So it's a big agenda that he will lead.
So no feet on the desk there. Where does the priority lie? Get the season away, get a team in from Tassie, get the girls more money, and then sail off into the sunset?
Well, in some respects, it is a good position in terms of the game, for the game to be in, because sometimes people who are leaders have to make unpopular decisions, and sometimes it's very difficult to make unpopular decisions when you have to stick around and bump into people in the corridor. So in terms of Tasmania, I got a feeling that maybe this might be his legacy. He might put a lot of stuff in place so that Tasmania are or will have a team, and maybe a bit sooner than what some people are suggesting. And then the next person can then inherit that and make it happen. So I think that's really important. The other one is the two CBAs. They're tough to negotiate because I think the television or the media rights deal will be bigger than what it was last time. So that pie is going to have to be sliced up. The men's players will want more. I think the women's players deserve more. And if they're going to go forward and move closer towards being full-time, they need more money. So it's going to be a delicate balancing act. Can they convince the men to subsidise the women like they do in the cricket.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the cricket. And so that's going to be a delicate negotiation.
So he's still got a big 8 or 9 months ahead of him. Now, just on that, we thought, who's the best person to ask if he did a good job and who should be next in the role? Than the guy who left before Gil, Andrew Demetrio, on the show today. So Rowie will be flat that he's got the sore throat and he's out today, because always nice head-to-head Andrew D and Stephen Rowe.
Well, one of the good things, I think Andrew will be very happy. He, in a lot of ways, groomed Gil to take over from him, and that's what happened. So, look, he's had to make a couple of big decisions. Clearly got Gil right, clearly got Meatloaf wrong.
Yeah, and AFLX, we might have to touch on that as well. There won't be a roof. Speaking of history, history made today at the Port Adelaide Football Club. They have announced their first female AFLW coach, Lauren Arnell.
So excited with the announcement today, and absolutely stoked to be joining Port Adelaide Football Club. Couldn't be more humbled and excited.
So Jack gets it for the AFL, Lauren for the AFLW. Great appointment.
It is, and I'm really pleased they've decided to go with Lauren and a lady to coach in the AFLW. I think that it really sends a strong message where we're saying to everyone, footy's for everyone in terms of playing, doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. And now what we're doing as well, we're saying if you have aspirations to become a coach of a senior team, whether that be in the men's side or the women's side, it is open for you. And Lauren is eminently qualified. She's been a great player. She's, in the last couple of years, done a lot of work on the coaching side of things. She's a teacher, so she knows how to get a message across. So I think it's going to be fantastic. And they've really set a strong message, haven't they? Rachel Spawn, Juliet Haslam, Lauren Arnell, they're saying this is something that is really important to us, and we're going to set this up in a way that really does create a number of role models both on field and off for women.
So they just need a marquee player now. If only there was someone in this city, Vic,
Someone
that they
had
could just put
heritage.
their focus on and say, gee, wouldn't she be nice to come over to the team? We'll speak to Lauren in about 10 minutes or so about that. Also on the show today, Kevin Sheedy. Josh Rochelle gets the Rising Star nomination on his birthday, so that's nice. Deserved too. He's been a star early on.
Well, very unlucky. You kick 5 goals in your first game and miss out, but there was another player who played really well that weekend, and yeah, no surprise, it was going to happen at some stage, and he would be one of the favourites, you would think, right now on exposed form, and if he steers clear of injury, you think he's going to play most games for Adelaide.
400,000 enjoyed the Grand Prix across the weekend in Melbourne. We'll speak to the voice of World Formula One, David Croft, in London, and Cornsey, this being a Tuesday, and we'll also keep you up to date as the afternoon progresses with the Paddy Ryder tribunal decision, because he was given 2 weeks for the bump coming through the centre there, and if you listened to 360 last night on Fox, they're appealing, of course. According to Robbo, no chance.
Paddy Ryder had a chance to pull up, and he didn't. And he kept going, and he didn't mean to hit him in the head, but that whiplash is terrible, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Terrible. It's 2 weeks, it wasn't dirty, but this is sort of behaviour that the AFL must come down heavy on. And I think most people in footy should say, we agree with you.
To quote the pub test, Bix, that's 2 weeks or a week at least, every day of the week.
Yeah, I think so. And the other thing that's happening now is we're starting to see a change in mindset. David Mundy was interviewed. Let's have a listen to David Mundy when he was asked about it.
Paddy Ryder bump, historically in AFL football, has been coached in. Check the runner, don't let them get past, don't let them link up the play and all that kind of stuff. And if the head becomes part of a contest, the player who chooses to create that kind of contest bears the consequences. And on the back of the concussion and CTE and all those really scary things that we don't want to think about too closely, I think it's really important, and particularly to kind of set that new mindset for the next kind of generation coming in and the generations after those guys.
Set the new mindset for the new generation that's come in and the generation after that. This is David Mundy, who's 37 years of age. He would have started playing in the early 2000s. So he's been around when you could run into blokes right up the middle and knock them into next week. And he's just saying, we've got to change this. And he made a really salient point. We're talking about concussion and CTE and all those things that nobody wants to talk about. So we're happy to say, it's the fabric of the game. But once again, when things like Shane Tuck and Danny Frawley and all those things happen, we just say this can't continue to happen. We've got to be better. And I think this is part of the challenge for all of us, is to change our mindset.
And there would be people listening to the radio now, including Stephen Rowe, I'm guessing, from home, going, it's a footy accident. What's he meant to do? The AFL have told you what you're meant to do. You don't bump and you don't hit him in the head or you're going to get game. So we'll follow that with interest, see if Paddy Ryder gets the 2 down to 1 or see if it stays at 2. If you'd like to join Bix, talk about the weekend's footy, 8223 0000 is our number. After this short break, the new coach of the AFLW side for Port Adelaide in their inaugural year, Lauren Arnell.
Keep up to date with state politics with Adelaide's own King of Spin, Matthew Abraham. Thursday mornings from 7:30 with David and Will. Thanks to your local Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful. Mitre 10.
Next time you buy seafood from the deli section of your supermarket, ask them if they know who caught it. Oh wait, sorry, you can't, because they won't know. Unlike Kirkbride Seafood, they won't have the contact details of the person who caught it, what time it was caught, or where it was caught. I mean, you'd have to care a hell of a lot to go to those sorts of lengths. Lucky for you, Kirkbride Seafood do. Doothie Street, Unley. kirkbrideseafood.com.au.
7 News is Adelaide's news. Adelaide's #1 weather.
Looking at cooler temperatures by the end of the week, though.
And first for Adelaide sports news.
First 2 breaking news.
Adelaide's leading local news. 7 News at 6.
Scores are tight as the half-time siren sounds. Jackson grabs his footy, runs onto the oval. His sister Kayla is right behind him. It's half-time of the Host Plus Sandful League, and the kids are going berserk.
The Host Plus Sandful League. It's quality football, free entry for the kids, plus loads of activities to keep them entertained. And don't forget your footy for a kick and a catch on the oval. Keep the kids entertained this weekend at the Host Plus Sandful League. Nothing beats it. Visit sandful.com.au for match info.
Want a golden egg this Easter? The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving 5 lucky winners $50,000 each in our Easter Bonanza draws. Get your tickets by midnight Thursday and you could make it an Easter to remember. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the ultimate $4 million grand prize in Henley Beach. Join the fight. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M141166.
Hey, check this catalogue out. Sip and Save is giving away 5 content creator kits. Just pick up a specially marked Jack Daniels and Cola 4.8% 10-pack for $44.99 and enter online.
Wow, you could win an Apple MacBook, a Canon digital SLR package, a premium drone with heaps of accessories, even a photography course.
They've also got my favourite beer on special, a 24-pack of Cooper's Pale Ales, $49.99.
Great price. The comp ends soon, though.
Way ahead of ya!
Good time start at Sip and Save.
Prices may vary in country areas. See website for T's and C's. 1 hour delivery available in selected areas. Download the app.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. This month, Bob Jane T-Marts gives you safer holiday driving deals. Buy 3, get 1 free, and up to $100 instant cashback on a great selection of top brand tyres, including Bridgestone, Yokohama, Goodyear, Dunlop, and the legendary All-Rounder. Buy a set of 4 monster wheels and off-road tyres, and enter to win an Austrac Telegraph X camper trailer. Plus, over 2K's worth of extras from HEMA and GME. We'll look after you.
T's and C's apply. SA permit number T22367.
We can fix your oven, taps, gas heaters, your irrigation system, roof leaks, rusting gutters and downpipes. We can even retile your bathroom. Ken Hall Plumbers, your local plumbers since 1983. Give Ken a call, 8364 5855.
Scraped your caravan? Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is Roey's Sports Show.
18 minutes after 4, Mark Bigley sitting in for an unwell Stephen Rowe. If you heard Rowe yesterday on the show, you would have noticed because it sounded like he went out with the AFLW girls and celebrated. A little scratching in the throat.
I think it was, whenever we have a close game, I generally walk away with a headache from the yelling and screaming, and Rowe generally walks away with a scratchy throat.
I think Blakey did a behind closed doors on that. He bursts the woofer valve occasionally in games like that. So Rowie back tomorrow when he is feeling better. Historic day at Alberton. We'll get to that in just 1 second with the new coach. But first, if you're buying your first Mazda, trading in or servicing, you've got to get to edwardstownmazda.com.au.
Look out for a collision at Mitchell Park on the drive home, Alawoona Avenue near Bradley Grove, and another collision, this one's at Mount Barker, Bald Hills Road near Springs Road. Dry Creek, smash and chemical spill, Cormac Road at Churchill Road North, restrictions in place there, and we're busy at the moment, South Road near Anzac Highway. Camera's Doothie Street, Malvern, Trimmer Parade, Seaton. Save 20% off Freedom's Autograph Sofa Range. Create your space and enjoy 20% off the Freedom Autograph Sofa Range. Sale ends Monday, only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
19 after 4, exciting time for the AFLW with the expansion teams coming in, new teams coming in, means new players, new coaches, and great news today. Historic announcement at Alberton with Port Adelaide announcing their inaugural AFLW head coach. She joins us, Lauren Arnell. Lauren, congratulations.
Thank you very much. So humbling and super excited to get started at Port Adelaide.
Yeah, it is an exciting time for you. Can we start off with you just elaborating on the process that you went through to win this coveted role?
Yeah, it's obviously not an easy process to go through and gain a head coach role in an AFL club. So, yeah, obviously spent quite a bit of time getting to know Juliet Haslam in particular, Rachel Spawn and Naomi Maidman, who are in our team so far building the AFLW club side of the club, and obviously Chris Davies as well was a key person in sort of talking me through the whole process. And, yeah, a couple of interviews later and meeting a number of board members and going through that process was great. And, yeah, obviously we've landed on an outcome, and I'm really excited to be the first head coach at Port Adelaide.
Now, you had a really decorated career at a number of clubs. You achieved the ultimate in winning a premiership, but then it's only a couple of years ago, really. And since you retired, what was the steps you took or your mindset about what you wanted to do next and how you approached it?
It's a really good question. I think most people now who've taken any interest in AFLW would know that it's a really different space to AFL men's. And so I actually turned 30 in my first season of AFLW in that first year in 2017. And so while I'm giving away my age, I've been a teacher since 2010. So 10 plus years of teaching experience. I was coaching in the talent pathway in Victoria from 2013 onwards. And since retiring, and even just before that, I was head coach of the Lions Academy group up here in Brisbane. So, yeah, there's a fair bit more to my resume than just playing. And I was also fortunate enough to work at the AFL for 3.5 years in coach development. So, yeah, I'm really excited to take all my learnings and those skill sets into the environment at Port Adelaide.
It's really interesting. You got a blank canvas when you're starting a new club, and it's like, where do you start? What is the number one priority for you?
I think we've got some fantastic building blocks. I mentioned our team in Juliet Haslam, Rachel Spawn and Naomi Maidman as our list manager is a really good starting point. And I guess the next step is really, now that the AFLW season is over, is building our list and also building our coaching team and high performance and all of the things that it takes to run a successful AFLW club. So there's plenty of work to do, and it's a very exciting time for us now that we can sort of get moving in terms of talking to players and potential staff.
How far down the track are you with players? Of course, there's rumours swirling around everywhere that you might be going to steal a few players from the successful Adelaide team. Is some of that groundwork began already?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Obviously, I mentioned Naomi now a couple of times, having been in that role as list manager for a little while, and she's been working within our academy program and within SA women's footy for a long period of time now. And so there's quite a lot of work done before my appointment, and now that my role's been announced, there's certainly an ability to contact people and start those conversations from my end. But yeah, our team's done quite a lot of work in that space already.
Now, I guess when you think about the season and the length of the season, it's not as anywhere near as long as what the men's season will be. Will you get an opportunity, potentially, when you get some spare time at the end of your season or before your season, to work in the men's program?
Oh, look, my role as AFLW head coach, and I'm sure I've spoken to Ken Hinkley and he's been incredibly supportive to this point, as has the rest of the football club, but my additional roles outside of our season will be a focus on supporting and mentoring female coaching talent in SA. I think that's a really key part of my role as head coach, and as you mentioned, it is a shorter season at this point, so yeah, while there'll be plenty of opportunities for learning in the men's program, I think my focus does need to be supporting female coaches coming through the pathway in SA as well.
Well, tell us a little bit about Lauren Arnell. Who is she away from football? Tell us about yourself.
I am pretty busy in footy, to be quite honest. Up until officially today, I was teaching 3 days a week as a PE teacher and AFL Academy coach at incredible school in Brisbane South State Secondary. They'll appreciate the shout out. So yeah, teaching 3 days a week, coaching Lions Academy girls 2 days a week and also working ABC radio in the men's season. So pretty busy. I've also recently taken up skateboarding, which isn't probably something anyone wants to watch. I'm it's a bit of a laugh, but a nice little challenge in my mid-30s I've found. So, family...
I'll keep an eye out for you, Lauren. I'm often down at the bowl down there at West Beach. I've got two young cobblers who generally do it. I'm not brave enough to do it.
I'm not quite at bowl level, but if you've got some nice little areas for me, I'd love to hear about it.
You can just skateboard straight down Port Road.
Yeah, maybe. I'd need a helmet, that's for sure. But no, I think another piece to me is my family being a really important part of my life, and my partner is from Adelaide, so we're able to now reconnect with that side of the family, which is really exciting, and we've got a really nice chunk of Port Adelaide passionate members and supporters on that side of the family too. So that's been really exciting, especially today.
I think the other thing that everyone is looking forward to is this new rivalry that is going to be created. We've got the showdown with the men. I think now we're going to have a showdown with the women, and potentially played at Adelaide Oval, and you've got some great history and memories there. That's going to be something special that first time.
Yeah, look, it is something I've been dreaming about just very recently, and I think I mentioned it this morning in the press conference, just picturing that never tear us apart at Adelaide Oval in the first showdown for AFLW will be absolutely epic, and something I'm very much looking forward to.
Well, Lauren, congratulations on the appointment. As we said, historic day at Albion. When you wouldn't have been asked this question yet, so we'll be the first. In a word, can you get Erin Phillips to Port Adelaide?
Oh, we'll do our very best. I can assure our members of that.
There you go. You've heard it first. Lauren Arnell, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations. Well done. Yeah. Lauren Arnell, the new AFLW coach for Port Adelaide.
And, of course, she wouldn't be doing her job if they weren't asking the questions of not just Erin Phillips. Anne Hatchard's name has been mentioned, who is probably the premier player in South Australia right now, second best in the competition in the AFLW Awards. So I think it's going to be an interesting time. We've seen some really good players leave Carlton and go to Essendon. So it's one thing that probably has happened a little bit in the women's game is they have changed sides a bit more so than the men's. So you think about there's a number of players that have played for 3 clubs within, 6 years?
Correct, Taylor Harris. So I think that's a maturity people are going to have with this league, because the girls are going to get opportunities at other clubs. And if it's financial or whatever the case might be, you'll do that. But Lauren's a great appointment. So inaugural captain of Carlton, then went through the Brisbane system, won a flag with the Lions, been coaching now for a few years under the AFL as well. So Port Adelaide's
school teacher, really important.
First coach, which is great. So nice appointment there. Just before we get to the news, more on Port Adelaide, let's flip across to the men's. Dominates Monday night footy shows. Port Adelaide, as you can imagine. I've got 2 grabs for you. I want to hear you have a listen to. Get your reaction. First, Nathan Buckley.
And what we're seeing from Port at the moment is they look lost. They look like they're struggling to know exactly what they're trying to achieve with ball in hand. They're just largely ineffective around how they go forward. But right now, they are lost in terms of having a real fundamental belief in who they are, and it's a hard yards right now.
Bucks Melbourne Radio this morning. Are they lost, Port Adelaide?
Well, I think the point he made was with ball in hand. They do look uncertain. They do look a little bit confused. We've seen them with ball in hand on the wing. They look inside, then they don't use it. Then they hold on to it, then they go back, and then they kick it long down the line. And by that stage, there's a lot of people back. And then there's other times where they look inside and it's not on, and then they go backwards, and then they go sideways, and they get held up. So it's really, whatever they're doing is not working at the moment, but they don't look like they've got another alternative to be able to go to.
On the couch last night, had Sam Mays was attacked 7 times as the forward target. Todd Marshall, 0, which is not quite right. 360 didn't miss either. Here's Robbo.
Port Adelaide's the biggest loser. They're a lost footy club. I won't say broken, they're lost. They're in trouble. Now, they're zip full and they play Carlton this week. They're a sniff for the finals. If they lose this week, they're done. But at the same time, the heat will go up on Kenny, and Kenny will do everything he can to protect his players, mate. He'll do everything he can. But there's got to come a time when these players got to look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, it is us. We've got a bit to answer for here.
Yeah, look, I don't think they're there yet. I was really disappointed. I saw the Hawthorn game in person, and they were really disappointing there. There was some times where there wasn't the pressure that was necessary in an AFL game of footy. I thought against the Crows, probably should have won that game in the balance, the cold hard light of day. They let it slip, but it wasn't through any lack of effort. The last 5 minutes was frenetic. And then against Melbourne's was just superior with their system. They just didn't have an answer about how they could go forward, didn't have the personnel to be able to go forward too. And they didn't give it away by any stretch, but they were just devoid of ideas towards the end. They battled on. They kicked 4 goals in the last quarter and a bit, and fought it out. But yeah, I'm not sure they're lost. I think they'll keep going, but they're a long way behind where they thought they were going to be, and a lot of that is personnel and a lot of that is confidence. The players they do have are still talented, but they're down on confidence.
They did look a bit lost in that first half. Where are these goals going to come from? Big sitting in for an unwell Stephen Rowe. We're going to take a short break on the other side. This week's Rising Star winner, Josh Rochelle.
FIVEaa Breakfast.
We are joined by the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison.
So we're going to see you here in Adelaide for a pasty and a pint of Coopers during the election campaign, or are you just going to fly over South Australia on your way to defending seats in New South Wales and hopefully gaining a couple in WA?
No, you'll see us there plenty of time, no doubt. But, you've got a great team down there.
Informing Adelaide.
I'm looking forward to getting down there for exactly those reasons, Bembo.
6 a.m. weekdays on 5AA.
The original MasterChef winner,
Julie Goodwin! Julie's back.
Don't be nervous.
It's like saying, don't be 51.
MasterChef, fans and favourites. Starts Easter Monday on 10.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi stock the full range, all designed to thrill. And they can service any make or model. 147 Main South Road, Morphett Vale. Driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
Want quality wine at the best price in Australia? Then join the Sky Club at skysellers.com.au for just $50 a year. And you'll get a 6-pack of the Boss Reserve Barossa Shiraz worth $150 absolutely free. Sounds hard to believe, but it's true. And as a club member, you'll save up to 81% off retail on selected wines every single day of the year. Join now at skysellers.com.au. That's skysellers.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. We'll be able to ditch face masks from Friday, apart from in high-risk settings and on public transport, taxis and rideshare services. Labor leader Anthony Albanese is shifting the focus onto health after copping widespread criticism over his economic blunder. Ukraine is accusing Russia of a chemical weapons attack in the city of Mariupol. The reports are yet to be verified, and AFL chief Gil McLachlan will stand down at the end of the season. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Look out for a smash at Mount Barker on the drive home, Bald Hills Road near Springs Road, and another collision at Dry Creek, also involving a chemical spill too. Cormac Road at Churchill Road North, restrictions in place. Twisted traffic light Regency Park, that's South Road near Katia Street, with cameras Anzac Highway, Ashford, Dawes Road, Melrose Park. Delicious 100% clean Mexican food. Enjoy Guzmani Gomez burrito or bowl for only $9.90. Yes, just $9.90 when you order through the GYG app. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Cloudy tonight, a low of 14. Sunny tomorrow, a top of 28. Right now, it's 22. More news at 5 o'clock and As It Happens on 5AA.
A cure for diabetes. Imagine if it was right there on the street and you walked past it. Maybe you already have. If you're on North Terrace today, you might have walked by SAMRI, the cheese grater. Inside, the brightest minds from around the globe are striving to beat the biggest health challenges we're all facing, like diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, and preterm birth. The world's biggest breakthroughs might be happening right here, right now. SAMRI. Get into it at samri.org.au.
If your business could do with more business, you should try advertising here on the radio. 5AA can help turn your brand into a household name. We could do it with a jingle, or a really funny ad, or something deadly serious. Our audience is big enough to fill Adelaide Oval again and again. Get in touch with 5AA to find out how we can give your business more business.
Hey, Country Blinds are hiring installers. Tons of job security with plenty of independence. A van, tools, training, everything you need. Great hours, mostly working the metro area. Gigs like this don't come up every day. So if you're good on the tools and want to work with a great SA company, don't hang around. Applications close this Friday. Get your CV onto countryblinds.com.au. It's a job you'll love, just like the jingle says.
Everybody loves their country.
Walker Crash Repairs. For easy insurance repairs on your caravan, get it fixed right with Walker Crash Repairs.
This is Rowie Sports Show.
25 minutes to 5. Mark Bickley sitting in for Stephen Rowe, who is unwell. Rowie returning tomorrow. The Paddy Ryder Tribunal Bic's about to get underway, so we'll let you know how that plays out. And rounds 10 and 11 have been released for the AFL. So Doug Nicholls round. Round 10, the Crows will play Saturday night home against the Saints. And round 11, Saturday afternoon away against Geelong. While for Port Adelaide, Saturday afternoon, round 10 will be against Geelong, and round 11 home against the Bombers.
That should be a big crowd. Bombers, big drawing crowd here in South Australia. A lot of Bombers fans. So hopefully, unfortunately, that time slot not ideal. Yeah. Sunday evening. But the Crows fans will be happy. Saturday night game versus the Saints. Saints are in a bit of reasonable form at the moment. Some
other good news is the Dream Time at the G returns. It's the first time since 2019, which is great because Anzac Day aside, it's almost the big marquee game now of the regular season. 2 games in the Northern Territory. The Suns will host both of those in Darwin, and the AFL aiming to release the next block of fixtures beyond round 11 at the conclusion of round 6. Time to catch up with one of the Crow stars who was this week nominated as the AFL Rising Star for Jama's Kitchen at Bowden. A casual eatery for any occasion. It's fancy made easy.
Goes looking for Rochelle to one-on-one. He held him. Rochelle will go. Rochelle will go. He's too strong. Too good. His body work was brilliant. He gets a goal.
Rising Star, Josh Rochelle. Congratulations, Josh.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Hey, congratulations. It is a fantastic honour. You maybe thought you'd done enough in round 1, but you had to wait a couple more weeks. It's a really nice honour for you.
Yeah, it's a great honour. Credit to Nick Martin. He had an amazing debut on round 1 as well. But yeah, I've been stoked to enjoy my last few weeks playing with the Crows. It's been a bit unlucky. About 3 games differentiated between a goal. So once we start winning games, it'll be a good journey.
Well, it's been a whirlwind induction for you, hasn't it? You've felt the highs and the lows. Even in that Port Adelaide game, at one stage you thought maybe you might have been the villain after giving away a 50-metre penalty, but then within about 90 seconds you were back up the other end, jumping on top of the pack.
Yeah, that was a bit of an up and down game, wasn't it? 30 seconds before Dawes kicked the goal, I was nearly in tears. Thought I gave the game away. So it was good to have that win. Just kind of looking forward to now getting a few more under our belt. Been pretty disappointed the last few weeks, losing by less than a goal, but we'll look to continue and hopefully start winning soon.
I'm really interested in what your expectations were of AFL football. You're 4 weeks in now, and then what the reality has been, because from someone looking from the outside in, you look like you've just taken it into your stride and you look composed, you look calm. How's it feeling out there as a bloke who's in his first month of AFL?
Yeah, obviously I had high expectations of playing AFL football. Played senior football at 16 years old, so I had a fair idea of kind of the bodies. Definitely not the speeds, a lot different from AFL to the club football. But I think that just comes down to really having a good pre-season and training as hard as I can, and credit to the coaches and the strength and conditioning guys to getting me up to a physical level to be able to be playing AFL. But yeah, going in, didn't really have any expectations. Obviously wanted to play round 1 and try to continue on to play every game this year. But yeah, I just look to keep building. It's been a good start, but we'll keep moving on.
It's been challenging as well because you're part of the ground in the forward half where Adelaide don't have a lot of experience. They're very young forward line. How have you found that? Because you haven't had, sometimes you go into a bit more of an experienced team. You've got, 3 or 4 older guys to direct you and answer questions and point you in the right direction. But you haven't quite had that luxury.
No, I haven't. It was a credit to have Tex back on the weekend. It was a lot of experience, 200 games of experience there to help guide us younger boys. But before that, you've got Darcy Fogarty and Elliot Hilberg, who are our eldest players in our forward line, who are only in their fifth year, I think they are. So, we're very inexperienced, but I think that's just credit to all of us. We train hard. We try to just bounce off on each other and try and learn as much as we can. But, to have Tex back on the weekend was pretty good to have him, and cannot wait to keep continuing on and play with him along the rest of the year.
The other thing that's been really impressive about yourself is your ability to play close to goal. We saw in the second half on the weekend you went up into that looked like a high half forward role and you found yourself on the wing and helped transition the ball inside 50, and we've also seen you play on ball. So have you always had that flexibility and adaptability?
I think coming from my height, obviously you can't just play that one position. It's a bit different if you're tall. You can kind of play a key position role. But, yeah, I've kind of prided myself on having that little bit of flexibility, not just being a one-position player. They've always kind of taught you that going into your draft year, to kind of play as many positions as you can. But, yeah, I've enjoyed my time going deep. I love getting up the ground as well, and as you mentioned, going into the midfield. So I'll just keep continuing to play where Nixie wants me and what's best for the team.
And how about this weekend? You've got the Tigers, of course. They've got a number of their premiership stars playing there. It's a great opportunity to test yourself again against some really high-quality players.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity, not just for us young boys, but for the team overall. I think it's an important game for us. We're 1-3 now, so I think we'll be looking to get a good win in front of the home crowd this weekend. But yeah, credit to Richmond. They had a really good game on the weekend, and they're looking in good form. So we'll just see how we are this weekend. Hopefully we can come away with the win.
Anything in AFL that surprised you?
Definitely pre-season. I think people don't actually understand how intense and the amount of hours that goes in behind closed doors in pre-season. It's a long 3-4 months, and you go in as a 18-year-old thinking it's just kind of fun and games, which it is. But there's a lot of hard work that goes behind closed doors, and a lot of times where you saw and you've got to push through. But yeah, it works for the better of you in the season.
Hey, Josh, I've got some bad news for you. You got about another 15 to go, unfortunately. Or fortunately, whichever way you look at it. Hey, congratulations. I think every Crows fan, you've given a bit of a spring in their step. The fact that you've come in, you've just looked so comfortable and you've been so effective. And I think everyone's really excited about watching you develop in the red, blue and yellow.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Good on you, Josh. Congratulations. Josh Rochelle, this week's Rising Star nominee, and no surprise, Bix, you were right. He kicked 5 in week 1, kicked 1 against Collingwood, 1 against Port, 3 against the Bombers, so 10 in 4.
He's not that far off the leaders of the Coleman, is he?
A couple off the Coleman. What a star, and what a great start to his career he's had. And people are talking about him in the sort of Tony Modra, Andrew McLeod ilk of not necessarily longevity yet, but just in terms of excitement and turnstile kind of player to see.
Oh, look, I think generally it takes some time for people to feel comfortable at the level. If I think back when I first started, it was like the game was in fast forward, and it takes a number of games and then it takes a year or two before you really feel composed and comfortable at the level, and you believe in yourself that you can really impact games. Well, when you do it in game 1 and then you continue to do it in 2, 3 and 4, I think people are quite within their rights to think, boy, there's a lot of upside still to come. And, yeah, like I said, couldn't have been more impressive with his ability to, one, sort of stay in the moment in big parts of games, impact games, late kick goals when he's needed to, but 2, he's just been able to insert himself as well. Didn't have a lot of it in the first half. They changed position. He goes up the ground and then has a stack of it. The last quarter against Collingwood goes on ball and has 9 or 10 possessions, once the game's almost over, but really had an impact there as well. So, yeah, he's going to be a very exciting player for Adelaide.
He's got a confidence. It's not a cockiness, but he's got a confidence about him that you like to see in a fourth gamer.
It's not dissimilar to the Dacos brothers either. They both have a little bit of swagger. So it's that we talked about Port Adelaide lacking confidence at the moment, and I talked about that finding that belief in yourself that, yes, I belong at this level. I think he truly believes he belongs at the level, and that's from day one, and that's why he's had such an immediate impact.
Rising star Josh Rochelle, who you can quite often see at Jarmer's Kitchen. I know he loves the prawns down there. Third generation chef Chris Jarmer's made it so easy to hold functions. The legends open up another room upstairs. We've seen that is some sort of venue there. It's got the balcony, corporate events, birthdays, any celebration. Get in touch with Jarmer's Kitchen at Bowden. Brings out the nice food when they win too, Chris.
I love it. And he also often helps us out here. When we often call some of the games, he produces some wonderful meals for us. Thank you, Chris.
Let's just have a look. Anything around here at the minute, Bix? No. We'll work on that before 6 o'clock. Let's check the traffic for your drive home. If you're buying your first Mazda, trading in or servicing, edwardstownmazda.com.au.
Keep your eyes out for a smash at Mount Barker on the drive home. Board Hills Road near Springs Road. Twisted traffic light at Regency Park tonight. That's South Road near Katina Streets. And Plimpton works on Anzac Highway near Charles Street. That's as you're heading inbound. Got a lane closed there, 2 speeds at 40. Cameras at the moment, Cheltenham Parade, Cheltenham and Toothie Street at Malvern. Entries for your chance to leave mortgage free for a year close soon. See an Aussie broker today. For full T's and C's, visit aussie.com.au. Australian credit licence 246786. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Fresh nuts.
mouth-watering chocolates and eye-popping Easter gifts. G'day, I'm Brett Charlesworth, and there are 3 irresistible reasons to include Charlesworth nuts on your Easter shopping list. If you're a connoisseur looking for the absolute best and freshest nuts and can taste the difference, then give us a try. Share them with your guests or give a Charlesworth Easter gift and watch their eyes light up. 11 family-owned South Aussie stores, or shop online right now and get it delivered. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Get in here. It's Sheeds. We don't have the time to mess around. We can't afford any more downtime and we need a result. It's about trust, and for hydraulic hose repairs, Ryco 24/7 are the ones. They'll get to you wherever you are. Their vans are on the road with fully qualified repairers, and they are supported by that other great South Australian team, BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. Call Ryco 24/7 on 133247 or visit ryco247.com.au.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics, but what do you get? Try next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Did you know that the pyramids of Egypt, the Taj Mahal and the Roman catacombs were built to honour and enshrine the dead? At Simplicity Funerals, we believe a funeral needn't cost the earth to mean the world. simplicityfunerals.com.au.
There's one sign on Doothie Street Unley you must see. It's the Kirkbride seafood sign. It changes daily, from fresh crays to Atlantic salmon, King George whiting, garfish and SA King prawns. All sustainably fished and processed on site at Kirkbride Seafood. Not some faraway factory. It's a good sign that you're getting the best you can get, and so close to the city. See what's on the sign today. Kirkbride Seafood, Doothie Street Unley, kirkbrideseafood.com.au.
No need to wait. The Good Guys Doorbuster Deals is on now. It's the Easter sale not to be missed. Hop in-store, online or on the phone now to grab yourself a deal at the Good Guys Easter Doorbuster Deals.
Scraped your caravan? Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA-approved caravan crash repairer.
This is Roey's Sports Show.
13 minutes to 5. Stephen Rowe unwell today. Mark Bickley sitting in the chair till 6 o'clock. Graham Corns coming up at 5:30. The voice of Formula One David Croft next hour, and Andrew Demetrio to pay tribute to the career of Gil McLaughlin, who will call it a day at the AFL at the end of the season. Before we get to Sheeds, tribunal update for us, Bix?
Yes, Paddy Ryder's not going to be there himself. He's not going to give any evidence. What they're trying to do, St Kilda, is trying to get it downgraded from high impact to medium impact. So they're not challenging careless, they're not challenging high contact, which is to the head. They're trying to say it was medium impact, not high impact. Now, the fact that Will Day was concussed would make that very difficult, you would think. So what they've done at this stage is they are referring to footage of Tim English and Nick Blakey's collision in round 3, which was deemed reasonable contact. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use precedent. So that's going to be interesting. We'll keep you updated on that. And one other quick sip and save text that says, I'm not sure why you two are anxious to push Erin out of the Crows. I am sure she will make a decision soon, but everyone is getting sick of media asking the same question. Let Erin enjoy her 3rd premiership. Well, I think let the game be played and let her enjoy the celebrations, but she's the greatest player of all time in the game.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up at Port Adelaide and her name is synonymous with Port Adelaide. They're starting a new team. They're the arch rival of the team she's won 3 premierships with. I think most people are talking about it.
Yeah, and I think we would have been lynched had we not asked Lauren, are you going to get Erin across? And we'll find out in due time. The interesting one is if Ian Hatchard goes along with her, as Caroline was rumoured to mention last night. So we'll wait and see. Let's speak to the legend for BL Shipway, South Australian institution looking after SA's hydraulic and pneumatic needs for over 70 years.
Look at Kevin Sheep. I have never
seen Sheedy like that.
Marshmallows are flying out here at the moment. Bruce, you were hitting Kevin, but luckily they're very soft.
Kevin, bloody back pocket plumber.
Kevin Sheedy has gone out and he has got a message for one of the opposition. He's pointing fair, square at Mitchell White, I believe.
Don't ever let any club or player dominate you.
The man, the myth, the legend, Bix, the great Kevin Sheedy. Welcome, Sheeds.
Yeah, we're very well here, Kevin. Now, if we look at the weekend's action, a couple of the new coaches, McRae, Voss and Mitchell, it all came crashing down for them. Any advice? I did take a look at your record when you started coaching, Kevin. And
wasn't good.
You started with 1 win and 5 losses from your first 6 games, but then it improved dramatically. You won your next 15 straight after that. So what did you do? What advice could you give these 3 young men?
Well, just keep developing your people and your people around you, and obviously the team in itself, give them confidence. I think confidence is important for people when they're playing in, a pretty tough environment like AFL. I always think to myself that, if I could make them play better than what they feel sometimes and what they're capable of, I reckon that's an added value that a coach can give. The difficulties are obviously winning a premiership. Just because you don't win doesn't mean you're a failure, I don't believe. And I think in the end, there's a lot of fantastic coaches out there that haven't won a premiership, and a lot of magnificent. I can pick a team of great players that never played a premiership. So I think sometimes a premiership hangs a lot of people.
Ken Hinckley is exactly that, and he's feeling some heat because of that here in South Australia. You mentioned confidence. Well, his team looks like it's really lacking confidence. How do you instill that in players?
I think you do it in your training and your team meetings. I think that, probably 1993 was a big year for us because we had a lot of kids.
Don't remind us, please, Kevin.
Well, that's only one club. I mean, we got belted by Port Adelaide a lot of times too. So it's just a different way of looking at things. And yeah, on that point, I just remember Adelaide had only been in 2 or 3 years. I mean, God, it's pretty hard to get to the grand final in 2 or 3 years and expect to win it. So anyway, that's how tough the game is. It's pretty ruthless. You look at Ken Hinckley at the moment, he's probably, won as many opportunities for probably Port as what, say, Chris down at Geelong has. He hasn't won a premiership for as long as Chris, Ken Hinckley has, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been 10 years
Chris
for both.
Scott.
Yeah, Chris Scott,
So
2011.
He won his premiership in his first year, but hasn't won one since. So it just depends on the way you look at things.
So, Sheeds, what would you do in that situation then? So they lose the prelim, they've lost their first 4. Are you circling the wagons? Do you need a circuit breaker? How do you get them back on track?
I don't believe that you should be rolling out sacking coaches. For a start, there's not a lot of good coaches out there, and some of them probably are going to be coaching in the AFL at the moment and may never win a premiership, but they can still coach a bit. A lot of good coaches never got there, but they're damn good coaches. So Ken Hinckley, to me, he's unlucky getting rolled in a preliminary final, I think, by Hawthorn, won it by a kick. They're hard to get to grand finals. I lost a couple of prelims by a point. But it doesn't mean the whole club falls apart. And, we didn't make the finals probably after one of the years. Might have been 87, might have been 90. So it was about Lockett kicked a point after Siren, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it was 96.
96,
97, I don't think we made the finals. Doesn't mean you're going to... You just got to keep working through your list and your salary cap and those sorts of points of view. And look, I'll very early, I always put young kids in and give them a chance to have a look. And if you think you're coming home with a bit of a chance and you just missed out at the end of the year, so be it. I always keep developing a team for the next coach. If they kept me on, well, that's good luck. If they don't, well, at least I left them in a better spot.
One final one, Kevin. You've lent an idea from the Sandful in regards to the 25-metre penalty. There's been almost a doubling of the 50-metre penalty so far this year in the first 4 rounds of the AFL, and you think that they could do a bit better?
Oh, I think 25-metre rule should be... I don't think it should be 50. To me, I think if people are teaching us the lesson in the AFL from your Sandful competition, how have you people over there felt the 25-metre rule has been good for your game? Or if you took it out and it was 50, how would you like it?
Yeah, it's certainly a bit more forgiving, particularly for those, misdemeanor type infringements.
Correct. Yeah, as I said, I think the 50-metre rule is there for really players that, do the wrong thing and need a 50-metre penalty. I have no problem with that. But I reckon some of the penalties are very close to being average decisions for a 50-metre penalty. And I'd rather have the opportunity for the umpire to have a 25-metre rule. So look, and sometimes these guys have got the ball, they go to play on and they don't. Of course, the guy moves on the mark and all of a sudden it's a 50. Well, either you sort it out or we've got an 85% poll over here agree with the 25-metre rule. 85% in the poll in the Herald Sun, right, actually agree to bring a 25-metre rule and don't be that harsh on the 50-metre all the time.
Yeah, it's too big a penalty. It's almost a guaranteed goal, isn't it?
Well, it's ridiculous, yeah.
Hey, Sheeds, great to speak as always. Nice to see you on the telly too, doing the handball on the weekend.
Well, it's coming up as I'm doing a Bonds ad.
Oh.
Bonds underwear. How many 74-year-old...
Got the kid off, have you? You in the white singlet?
74-year-old coaches are doing a Bonds ad.
Yeah, you might have missed Big's question, Sheeds. Are we seeing singlet or are you going down south?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I think you've taken over from Dustin Martin. Dusty, you did the last one, and now they've gone... Well, Dusty's gone. Who's the next best? Kevin Sheedy.
Well, look, I just want to let you know that at 75 there's still a chance.
Well, you learned from the best. Tommy Hafey was in good nick. You're in good nick. They're all famous Tigers. Thanks for your time, Sheeds.
No worries, guys. Good luck. Cheers, everybody in South Australia.
Is Shippy in the commercial too or no?
Not yet, but we're thinking of putting him in as an anchor man.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Sheeds. Have a great week.
There you guys.
There he is, the great Kevin Sheedy. Thanks to BL Shipway, South Australian institution, as Kevin Sheedy is. Interesting thoughts too. 25 bigs. You got to bring it in.
And like I said, there's still going to be times where if someone you think is deliberately trying to slow the play down, well, you can give them a 50-metre. But if it's the Josh Rochelle one in the background and it doesn't really affect play, then it's a 25. But what will happen is 25 metres will still get you from 70 to 45 and people will still kick goals and it'll still be a penalty, but it just won't be the lay-down misère, on the line type 50-metre penalty that we've seen. And I guess we despise, the outcomes that it creates.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin Sheedy for BL Shipway, looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. If you can't get into the huge Richmond Road store, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you. On the other side, Andrew Demetrio.
The original MasterChef winner, Julie Goodwin!
Julie's back.
Don't be nervous.
It's like saying, don't be 51.
MasterChef, fans and favourites. Starts Easter Monday on 10.
Hi, I'm Victoria from The Family Cook. I'm passionate about cooking wholesome, fresh and delicious meals. We're the only meal delivery service based in South Australia using hand-selected premium ingredients such as free-range chicken, grass-fed beef, Australian fish and locally sourced vegetables and herbs. Our customers love it and I can guarantee you'll love it too. And we're proudly an NDIS provider. Jump on board thefamilycook.com.au.
Not to brag, but AFL's biggest stars are at my place. They're smaller than expected, a little two-dimensional, but only because they're limited edition AFL sports cards. You too can own a piece of footy history with the Select Footy Stars 2022 collection at Sports Card World, plus exclusive jumbo packs and everything you need to keep your collection in mint condition. If you're a collector or interested in collecting, chat to the experts at Sports Card World, Regent Arcade, Rundle Mall.
Are you ready to vote? The federal election has been announced. If you've recently changed your name or address, turned 18 or become an Australian citizen, you must update your enrolment details or enrol to vote before 8 p.m. on Monday the 18th of April. Head to aec.gov.au or pick up an enrolment form at any AEC office and return it to the AEC before 8 p.m. on Monday the 18th of April. Your vote will help shape Australia. Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Is that one there? No. Oh, found one. Maybe not. Small car hiding behind the big ones. Oh, are they leaving? No, they're getting their bags out the back. I'll just do one more lap.
The worst part about shopping is you usually spend more time looking for a park than in the shops. Not at Newton Central. With access to over 500 car parks, you'll never have to do one more lap of the parking lot before you shop. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
G'day, it's Jared for Wayville Mitsubishi. The Wayville showroom on Goodwood Road is going through a rebuild, so right now you'll need to enter via Goodwood Road for sales and via Davenport Lane for service. So it's business as usual at Wayville Mitsubishi, driven by Australian Motors.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny tonight, a low of 14 with the 5 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamarik.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
It will be masks off in SA from 1 minute past midnight this Friday morning, except for on public transport, in airports, hospitals, jails and disability and aged care facilities. But the situation with masks in schools remains a work in progress. The Premier says if you still want to mask up come Friday, feel free.
Anybody can wear a mask anytime. There is no rule against mask wearing. So for those people that are no longer subject to a requirement to wear a mask, you are still free to choose to wear one.
SA has recorded 4,401 new COVID cases today and 6 deaths. 232 people are in hospital, a dozen of those in ICU. Emergency services are at the scene of a serious crash at Salisbury. A pedestrian was struck by a car just after 3 p.m. on Mawson Road. Valencia Street and parts of Mawson Road are closed and drivers are asked to avoid the area. The Labor leader has travelled across the Bass Strait for the second stop on his campaign trail. Lucy Gray is travelling with Anthony Albanese.
After a disastrous 2 days in the Apple Isle, Mr Albanese has touched down in one of Labor's strongest states, Victoria. He's used his second day on the campaign trail to shift focus onto health, announcing new funding for psychiatric telehealth services at a doctor's surgery in Tasmania and a $300,000 grant for a homelessness charity in the Labor-held seat of Macnamara here in Melbourne South. The opposition is targeting multiple marginal Liberal-held seats in the state, including Higgins and Chisholm.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has wrapped up his visit to Western Sydney. Scott Morrison's visiting the Assistance Dogs Australia headquarters as he's committing $2 million to train 120 dogs a year. He's also visited factory workers to spruik a jobs plan. Australia is seeking to verify reports Russia has used chemical weapons in Ukraine. There are suggestions they were deployed in the battle for the city of Mariupol. Foreign Minister Maurice Payne says the reports are extremely concerning.
If they are confirmed, that will be a further wholesale breach of international law, a further indication of President Putin and Russia's absolute violation of every single value and every single rules-based aspect of the rules-based global order.
And at least 25 people have been killed in floods and landslides as a tropical storm hits the Philippines. Rescue efforts are underway. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport. Gil McLachlan is stepping down as AFL Chief Executive. He'll see out the rest of the season before passing on the baton.
But it just feels the right time, and I can't be clearer than that. Primarily it's the right time for the AFL. I feel Richard has a slightly different view, but and obviously for me and my family, and I feel very good that it'll be handed over in good shape.
Brett Ratton will be forced to sit out St Kilda's Round 5 clash with Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium. The senior coach has tested positive to COVID. Meanwhile, Paddy Ryder is facing the AFL tribunal to challenge a 2-match ban for rough conduct. The Saints ruckman was punished for a bump, which left Hawthorn's Will Day with the concussion. And it's game day for the Reds. They play the Sky Blues in Sydney tonight. Both teams are locked on 31 points and are looking for a place in the upper upcoming final series. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete Windscreens, the trusted South Australian name for car window tinting in Adelaide for over 40 years.
Keep your eyes out for a smash at Salisbury on Mawson Road near Brown Terrace. Restrictions are in place, so find an alternative route if you can. Mount Bark, another collision, Bald Hills Road near Springs Road, and twisted traffic light at Regency Park. It's on South Road near Katina Streets. A few cameras for the drive home, Anzac Highway, Karata Park, Birdwood Terrace, North Plimpton, and East Parkway at Kernelight Gardens. Harris Scarf stock take sale is on now. Save big across homewares, Manchester clothing and underwear. That's great brands at great stock take prices. Only at Harris Scarf on now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Cloudy tonight, a low of 14. Sunny tomorrow, 28. Thursday, partly cloudy, 28. And Friday, much the same, 28. Right now, it's 21. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
Masks off for most South Australians, but not all. Tonight, what do you need to know? Why your electricity prices could be about to soar. The dangerous trailer ride in Adelaide's north that has to be seen to be believed. We have the vision. And the supermarkets launch a seafood price war. How you'll be the winner. I'm Brenton Raglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
This is Rowe's Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Leith Forrest.
Nice to have your company on this Tuesday afternoon, 6 minutes after 5. No Stephen Rowe, he is out unwell. He'll be very disappointed because he loves our next guest.
There won't be a roof.
Andrew Demetrio coming up very shortly. Also this hour, Graham Corns will join us. We look forward to Cornsey being here in the world voice of Formula One, David Croft. Just the dulcet tones getting 400,000 Melburnians, Bix, and people around the country enjoying the Grand Prix back on the streets of Melbourne, which we look forward to. But a massive day in footy, and Gil McLachlan has announced that he will step aside as the AFL CEO at the end of the season. His former boss, former AFL CEO, Andrew Demetrio. Andrew, thanks for your time.
My pleasure, guys. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Andrew. Firstly, were you surprised at the timing?
Oh, not really. I knew Gil had been thinking about it, and I think if he was going to leave, knowing Gil, he was going to give enough time for the AFL to find a successor and also not leave the AFL in the lurch and give himself time to get some of the other tasks that he outlined today at his press conference to get done. So, not really surprised, but pleased that he's made the decision for himself and for his family. And for the AFL, he leaves it in great shape.
You mentioned he's still got a little bit of work to do on his plate, a couple of CBA arrangements. He's talked about Tasmania and perhaps a timeline there. Do you see potentially still to maybe leave his legacy on the game? He's achieved a lot, but still more to come potentially before he leaves.
Well, Mark, he's outlined a pretty full agenda for the rest of the year, including a new broadcast rights deal, 2 CBAs for men and women, the Tasmanian vote, and, of course, the club distribution plan. So I dare say the next CEO is going to have a great runway to start the job. If he does all those things,
nothing left to do.
Clear runway for at least 2 or 3 years anyway.
Yeah. Well, when you look at his tenure, what will you look back on as some of his very good achievements?
Well, first of all, I think he's been outstanding. And, from the beginning, he fast-tracked AFLW and got that in place and introduced the teams and outlined a program which now culminates in 18 teams next season. The purchase of Etihad Stadium, which is now Marvel Stadium for the AFL, has significantly increased its balance sheet. He did a bumper broadcast rights deal during his tenure, and then probably the most significant achievement amongst all those things is the way he guided the industry through the pandemic. Any leader in any organisation would have found that challenging, and with the uncertainty and the stop-start and the changing midway through a season and suspending a season, he did a superb job through that and helped save the game and helped guide 18 clubs through that. And that is a remarkable achievement, incredible.
You worked closely with Gil before you left and before he took on the main role, so you know what attributes are required. Tell us about some of the things that his replacement will need. Everyone's talking who at the moment, but tell us some of the really important skills the next person has to have.
Well, not in any particular order. You have to understand the game and the nuances of the game and understand the balancing of stakeholders, whether they're players, clubs, sponsors, venues, government, broadcast partners, and you're forever juggling stakeholder management. So that's important, and you need to know the game to do that. You've got to be a very good communicator because you're forever dealing with the media and the public and answering questions and thinking on your feet. And I think if you can, as Gil's done, and I try to do, speak in a language that everyday Australians understand, I think that's very helpful. I think you've got to be a very patient person, and when I say that, you've got to, if you're going to do the job, you know what comes with it, and what comes with it is a lot of scrutiny and a lot of critique and controversy from time to time. And, if you can't stand the heat in the kitchen, don't apply. So they'd be 3 or 4 things that I would think would be at the forefront of a job spec.
The last couple of times it's been an internal appointment. I think there's some quite well qualified people who are in clubland at the moment. Is the timing right to have a look at someone who has that type of background?
Well, thankfully I don't get to have a say in it, which I'm pleased about. But you're right. I mean, there'll be some internal candidates who are very, very capable. There's some terrific people in clubland, not just as CEOs, but there's some board members at clubland who might put their hand up. And I dare say there'll be, because of the job, what it entails today and how it's grown, there'll be some external candidates, some outstanding external people that will put their hand up. And the AFL Commission will do what they've always done, I think, pretty well, go through a proper process, narrow the field down and make the right appointment.
So Andrew Dillon, Travis Auld's names have been mentioned, Andrew. Brendan Gale's the interesting one too. Would it be a great job for someone from clubland like him, like yourself, who played, to come through and be the CEO of the AFL?
Oh, it's a great job for all those people you mentioned. They could all do it. If you've played the game, it helps. Gil didn't play at the elite AFL level, but he certainly played at the highest amateur level, and has got a very great empathy and passion for community football. So an understanding of the game, clubland, is certainly advantageous, no doubt.
The CBAs, you mentioned both the men and the women. That has the potential to create a lot of discussion around when or if or how much the men potentially may be subsidising the women. That's something that's going to be a little bit of a tricky one to be able to sort of, I guess, unpack.
So I'm glad I'm not doing it. But I guess that's why the broadcast rights deal is important. I mean, potentially you would think that's going to grow in revenue, which means the pie will grow. You might have an introduction of a Tasmanian team at some stage in the next broadcast rights round, and who knows, if there's a 19th team, there could be a 20th team, which would mean another game. So I think there's more than capable people, smart enough people to navigate their way through that. And I think as long as it's a fair distribution, I mean, the women's game is growing. They're making a contribution. They deserve to be remunerated accordingly and get more for the time and commitment they're putting in. And I don't think it's a matter of the men subsidising them. I think that's not the right terminology. I think the men will be fairly treated, as will the women.
And investing, perhaps, is a better term. One final one. You mentioned Tasmania potentially being the 19th team. From someone who's a little bit removed from Victoria, and if you look at it dispassionately, to me it would make sense to have to relocate a Melbourne team, a la South Melbourne, to Sydney, and maintain an 18-team competition. Is that under consideration, or is that just something that won't be considered, in your opinion?
Look, I don't know if it's under consideration because I'm not close enough to it. I wouldn't be privy to those conversations, but I don't think Tasmania wants a relocated team. The fact is, Tasmania, like the Gold Coast, has already stated clearly that they want their own team, and that's a good thing. If they want their own team, they'll grow their own team. They'll be given probably a priority zone to develop players from a young age and pick more Tasmanians. But if you want a 19th team, why not have a 20th team? I mean, you don't really want an odd number of teams. And that would be something that perhaps other people are turning their minds to.
Do you think they'll get the team, Tasmania?
Well, the momentum seems to be moving in the right direction. I don't know what the view of the new Premier is. Obviously, Peter Gutman was a champion of the cause. Hopefully that's not a setback. I think it would be great for Tasmania if they had their team. And I think for the competition, it's better if you've got an even number of teams.
Finally, Andrew, you were an excellent CEO of the AFL. You unfairly get labelled with meatloaf all of the time. Will Gill ever be able to get away from AFLX?
Well, I hope AFLX surpasses the meatloaf travesty of justice in my tenure, because I've had to wear it. I accept it. I own that fault. It was my choice, captain's pick, and it was a disaster. AFLX, well, I'll let Gill speak to that. I mean, it doesn't get brought up much, so he'll have to live with that one.
I can tell you that Cole Cheney's pretty happy because he's a premiership captain at Adelaide. They won the AFLX here at Hindmarsh Stadium, so he's not letting it go. But Andrew, we appreciate your time, and I'm sure you'd feel a little bit of pride because you did spend a lot of time with Gill. I'm sure he learned a lot off you, and you've seen him not only take over from the role, but really grow into the role and be successful in that 9-year tenure.
And we shouldn't forget he's a great South Australian as well.
Yes, indeed. Thanks so much, Andrew. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Andrew Demetria, predecessor for Gil McLaughlin, his former boss. I think he's done a good job. Andrew did a great job. Gil has done a great job.
I think the one thing, we talked about attributes they need, I think Gil gets a little bit undersold on his negotiating ability. Every year you just think that the media rights can't go up any higher, but they seem to always do. And even when Andrew was there, I know that Gil had a lot to do with that. They were able to negotiate through the players' CBA when the players were a little bit antsy about getting that sort of slice of the pie that they were after. So there's, in this next 9 months, there's going to be a time frame, and sometimes they do tend to drag out. He's going to have to use every bit of negotiating skill he has to get all those things done before he leaves. So, he's going to be a busy boy.
Busy 8 months to come. Andrew Demetrio, our guest.
There won't be a roof.
There will not be a roof at the Adelaide Oval Bix. Adelaide Footy League is back. 5AA's Goal of the Week is back. Make sure you head to our Facebook page and vote for the Adelaide Footy League Goal of the Week for round 2. I was watching these today. One of the kids just hits it hard. Bix swings around the corner, kicks a nice goal. The goal kicker with the most reactions will score themselves a $50 voucher thanks to our mates at Sip and Save. Remember, if you're catching up with friends, start at Sip and Save. Go and have a look. Check out the goals for yourself. On the other side of this, the world voice of Formula One. What a weekend it was in Melbourne for the F1 return, and some nice work from Daniel Ricciardo. Buy your first Mazda trading and or servicing, edwardstownmazda.com.au.
At Salisbury Park, smash on Main North Road at Saints Road. Got another collision. This one's at Salisbury, Mawson Road near Brown Terrace. Restrictions are in place. Find an alternative route if you can. And Regency Park, twisted traffic light on South Road near Katina Streets. Got a few cameras to look out for. Toothy Street, Malvern, Grange Road, Grange, and Torrens Road at Kilkitty. Get the new Samsung Galaxy A53 from Telstra with bonus Galaxy Buds 2, valued at $219. Offer ends April 25th. Redemption criteria and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Join David and Will each Friday on the 5AA Breakfast Show as they speak to power excitement machine Orazio Fantasia.
Orazio! Thanks to Rainwise Pools.
Family owned, building pools in SA for over 15 years. Google Rainwise Pools Adelaide.
Cars. We love them. From the 4x4 that takes you off-grid to the convertible sports model for long coastal drives, or your pride and joy that you love tinkering on every weekend. Whatever car you love, eBay has everything you need to look after it. With Australia's widest range of car parts and accessories, all at great eBay prices, you'll find any car part you need, no matter what you're looking for. Find it, buy it, fix it on eBay. Everyone's a winner.
Fresh nuts, mouth-watering chocolates and eye-popping Easter gifts. G'day, I'm Brett Charlesworth, and there are 3 irresistible reasons to include Charlesworth nuts on your Easter shopping list. If you're a connoisseur looking for the absolute best and freshest nuts and can taste the difference, then give us a try. Share them with your guests or give a Charlesworth Easter gift and watch their eyes light up. 11 family-owned South Aussie stores, or shop online right now and get it delivered. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
Want a golden egg this Easter? The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving 5 lucky winners $50,000 each in our Easter Bonanza draws. Get your tickets by midnight Thursday and you could make it an Easter to remember. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the ultimate $4 million grand prize in Henley Beach. Join the fight. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M141166.
The original MasterChef winner, Julie Goodwin!
Julie's back.
Don't be nervous. It's like saying, don't be 51.
MasterChef, fans and favourites. Starts Easter Monday on 10.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. If you see a late model Mercedes for sale in a small car yard, you'd be hoping you might be able to snare a bargain. If you see the same Mercedes for sale at a respected dealership specialising in luxury European vehicles, you're likely to value that car more highly. The same goes for real estate. Market perception is everything. Sure, most agencies will be able to sell your home in this market, but only a premium agency can deliver a premium result. Visit toop.com.au to find out more.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows. Factory direct to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide, factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows, states.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
Hurry into Beaumont's huge DIY sale. Refresh your kitchen splashback for under $100. Update your outdoor pavers with 20% off and grab up to 60% off Manager's Easter specials. In-store only at your local Beaumont Tiles. Beaumont's.
Walker Crash Repairs. For easy insurance repairs on your caravan. Get it fixed right with Walker Crash Repairs.
This is Roey's Sports Show.
20 minutes after 5, we'll head to London in just 1 second. Speak to the world voice of Formula One. You can head to the 5AA live stream on Facebook or YouTube. See what goes on behind the scenes on the show. Graham Corns coming up very shortly. So you'll get to see Cornsy in action. We are proudly supporting Cancer Council SA. And we shouldn't play favourites, Bix, but we do because we love our next guest. We're so delighted that he even picks up our phone call. And it's fair to say that the success of the show Netflix Drive to Survive and the first race in Australia for 2 years meant that 400,000 people enjoyed this.
Charles Leclerc keeping up Ferrari's happy hunting ground in Australia. His 3 previous career wins have come from pole, make that 4 career wins from pole position as Charles Leclerc takes the fastest lap of the race and wins the Australian Grand Prix.
Let's head to London. The world voice of Formula One, David Croft. Crofty, welcome.
Morning, Mark. How are you?
Well, I'm very, very well. All the better to speaking to you. Now, how did you see the Aussie Grand Prix? We loved it. The spectators turned out in droves, and Charles Leclerc didn't let everyone down.
No, absolutely. I thought for Formula One it was a much-needed weekend, quite frankly. According to the organisers, the biggest weekend sporting crowd in Australian sporting history, and we owed a good show after everything that went down in 2020. And I think it was a brilliant festival, atmosphere in the park. Fans wanted to enjoy the sunshine. Melbourne summer hung on for a couple more days. And Ferrari, look, I think bar Daniel Ricciardo lapping the entire field and winning at a canter, the Charles Leclerc win was about the next best popular thing. I think it was orange or it was
red. I would think you were going to say there. And, of course, Lygon Street would have been going right off like a frog in a sock, I can imagine. But let's talk about the new track. How did you see that?
I thought... Look, I actually... The drivers say we needed another DRS, though. Well, I'm sure from some of the drivers' point of view, yes, they did, because there were certainly some teams whose DRS is more powerful than others who were disadvantaged by the very late change in taking the extra DRS zone out. But I don't think Formula One really should be going into races with 4 DRS zones. That is the mission that either the current rules and regulations are wrong or the track's wrong. You can't apply that many plasters to a broken leg and hope you're going to get away with it. I don't see the necessity. Personally, I thought it was a better race than we've had in recent years. Saw Mark Scaife on Sunday morning, and I said that I thought he'd done a really good job, him and his team, with the confines that they've been able to work under. in Albert Park. And we should remember Formula One's only there for 1 week a year. Lots of other people want to use that park as well. So we've all got to work together on that one. It's great for the city, but the locals need to have their park too and not too disadvantaged by it. It was a better race. The changes worked. There were lots of battles from, say, 9th down to 16th, and eventually, I think in a couple of years' time, we'll get the battles right at the top because there's quite a spread in the field at the moment because of the new regs. Mercedes, for instance, you might think, well, they've had a much better weekend. They're up there on the podium. They were so much closer to Ferrari. No, there's still quite a big gap between Ferrari and Mercedes. And this weekend only enhanced it.
A lot of people describe Charles Leclerc's drive as perfect. It really does put some pressure on now Mercedes, and it does change the way we look at this race. The next race, of course, is heading to Italy. I can only imagine the anticipation that they all have at the minute.
If Imola's not a sellout now, it never will be.
Yes.
Quite frankly, and I think it will be a sellout, and there won't be much orange in Imola. It will all be red. Charles Leclerc proved with his first 2 wins at Spa and at Monza in 2019 how cool he can be when leading from the front and when others put pressure on him. And bar a slight moment, an understeery moment where he just didn't have the grip on the second safety car restart, he never really looked like he was in any trouble whatsoever. It was a fine drive. Now, what I'd like to see eventually is Charles Leclerc winning from positions other than pole, because he is a fine driver when it comes to overtaking as well. But we'll work on that one in the meantime, and it's not his fault that no one gets to beat him in qualifying, it seems, this season. But I think Charles Leclerc, ever since he first made his debut in Melbourne for Sauber, has looked the real deal, has looked very much one for the future. He is a very cool, calm, sort of person that takes everything in his stride. He doesn't get too stressed. He's very self-critical, and that's maybe held him back a little bit in his Ferrari years. But I don't think we're seeing signs of that now. I like the guy. I like the guy a lot. I think he's very down to earth. He's always happy to stop and chat. But more importantly, he's a fine racing driver. And I'm loving this current battle between himself and Max Verstappen. The big pity at the weekend, Mark, was that Red Bull weren't right up there in the race. They thought that by going for a low drag setup, that would get them on a par with Ferrari. And that's the biggest what if. We don't know what would have happened if Red Bull had been on the pace, and that's the big shame, isn't it?
Yeah, and just as Verstappen had his fastest lap, his car overheated. Just on that, I heard a few people describe Max as being on edge at the moment. How have you found him? Have you noticed a little bit of antsiness about him?
Well, I don't know what car you drive, Mark. I see some sort of muscle car.
Yes, you're on it, Crofty. That is exactly what he drives.
Down the streets of Adelaide. Yeah, maybe Sonny with cattle bars at the front. I have no idea what you drive there, Mark. But put it this way, if you went out for 3 trips, and in your first trip, there was a problem where a vacuum was created in your fuel tank and you couldn't suck any more fuel out and you just came to a grinding halt.
Very unhappy.
And then in your third trip, there was a fuel leak that sounded really, really bad and smelt really, really bad and forced you to pull over to the side of the road. You'd be a bit on edge every time you got into that muscle car of yours. That's where Max Verstappen's coming from at the moment. And he's right. These sort of things to him are unacceptable. Now, the team aren't deliberately trying to sabotage him, and I don't think they need that sort of criticism, not at the moment. But it is fair to say Red Bull have given Ferrari the best head start that Ferrari could have possibly wished for this season. And the fact that Mercedes, who are still a long, long way off Ferrari, are second in the Drivers' Championship and second in the Constructors' Championship, just shows how bad the reliability has been at Red Bull.
Let's quickly talk about McLaren and, of course, Daniel Ricciardo. Much better. He finished in the points. Was anyone surprised that the driving instructions were just to back off a little bit from Lando Norris towards the end?
No, I think when you're looking at the points finish McLaren were going to pick up, knowing that their car still isn't where they want it to be, you take what you get. You cash out, as it were, and live to fight another day. And what they didn't want was anything overheating. Brakes overheating has been a McLaren problem ever since we went testing in Bahrain. When you've got issues with the brakes, and a lot of McLaren's problems come down to overheating issues with the brakes, and you go to a track where there's only 4 braking zones, then those issues are not going to become quite as costly as at other tracks that we go to, Monaco, for instance, where there's a lot of braking zones. So that's why McLaren had an upsurge in form this weekend compared to how it was in Jeddah and how it was in Bahrain. I'm not expecting, based on the conversations I've had with Andreas Seidel, for things to be infinitely better when we get to Imola. Maybe by the time we get to Spain, that's when we'll see the big upgrade from McLaren and Daniel can start to have a car that befits his talent.
Fingers crossed we can get some more points for Danny Rick. Hey, Crofty, as always, so great to speak to you. Before we let you go, I know I spoke to you before you came over and I said you got to support Carlton. I know you went to the West Coast game, but please tell Bix how you're now a Hammers fan and you're also now a Carlton fan.
Well, you see, when I went to see the Eagles, it was fantastic, and I was there with the sponsors, and we had a great time. But I think even the sponsors will allow me, after the quite dreadful performance against the Dockers, to go and change my allegiance. And I'm a Baggers now. I really am. I've got a signed football as well, which is brilliant. So Carlton have been very generous, and the scarf. And look, I have to support Carlton because after years in the wilderness, they are the team. And whilst I didn't see the results on Sunday, I was a little bit busy. Tell me they won. Did they win at the weekend?
No. Do you know what they did? Just when you expect them to win, they lost. Yeah. And you better get used to that, David, I'm afraid, because they promise you the world and they show you an atlas.
Well, this is West Ham all over.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the defeats that hurt; it's the hope that kills you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a West Ham supporter too. I know how you're feeling.
I think it's fair to say, Bix, that when David was approached by a big gentleman in Carlton, possibly part of the crew, who said you might want to go for the Blues and handed him a scarf, David is now a Carlton supporter. So welcome aboard, Crofty.
When a man called Crusher says jump, I say how high. It's very
Thanks very much, David.
Good on you, David. Happy calling. We'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure, boys.
There he is, the great man, David Croft, the voice of the Formula One here in Australia, Melbourne, 400,000. He's one of our pals for Parafield Airport Liquor 2, home of the hardest to find wines, beers, spirits. Life's better with your pals. What a great job.
Imagine travelling the world. If you couldn't be a Formula One driver, I reckon being a Formula One reporter would be the next best thing, maybe even better.
To be the voice of, too. From Murray down to Crofty, we love that. We're going to take a short break. One of our other favourites, Graham Corns, next.
FIVEaa Breakfast.
Lonely Planet is today revealing the ultimate Australia travel list. We feature 1. Spot 8 is Kangaroo Island. Number 19 is the Manly Ferry. So, you know, things drop away.
What's number 12? The 406 to Campbelltown.
Informing Adelaide.
That ain't right.
The Manly Ferry.
6 a.m. weekdays on 5AA.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? 2, the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at leading chemists and health food stores nationwide. Ask for Arbor Vitae at your favourite pharmacy.
Arbor Vitae.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. From Good Friday, South Australians can ditch their masks in most public places for the first time in 289 days. Emergency services are at the scene of a serious crash at Salisbury where a pedestrian has been hit by a car. At least 25 people have been killed in floods and landslides as a tropical storm hits the Philippines. And St Kilda ruckman Paddy Ryder is currently appearing before the AFL Tribunal challenging a 2-game ban. Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Salisbury, look out for a smash on Mawson Road near Brown Terrace. Restrictions are in place, so find an alternative route if you can. Regency Park, twisted traffic light there, South Road near Katina Street. And we've got gasworks this afternoon. It's at Bedford Park, Sturt Road near Bradley Grove as you're heading towards the beach. 1 lane closed, speeds at 40. Cameras, East Parkway, Kernelight Gardens and Grange Road at Alamy Gardens. Grab a KFC 4.95 fill up before its time is up. An original recipe piece, a tender, chips, potato and gravy $1.30 plus a dinner roll. Not everywhere and not forever. Pick up only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Cloudy tonight, a low of 14. Sunny tomorrow, a top of 28. Right now, it's 20 degrees. More news at 6 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
Introducing the Drive Car of the Year. The all-new Kia Sportage. Awarded for its new turbo engine that gives you progressive performance. The Kia Sportage has a boldly sculpted sportsback design and soft touch leather interior, making it a natural leader. Kia Sportage, the Drive Car of the Year. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Hey, Country Blinds are hiring installers. Tons of job security with plenty of independence. A van, tools, training, everything you need. Great hours, mostly working the metro area. Gigs like this don't come up every day. So if you're good on the tools and want to work with a great SA company, don't hang around. Applications close this Friday. Get your CV onto countryblinds.com.au. It's a job you'll love, just like the jingle says.
Everybody loves their country.
If your business could do with more business, you should try advertising here on the radio. 5AA can help turn your brand into a household name. We could do it with a jingle, or a really funny ad, or something deadly serious. Our audience is big enough to fill Adelaide Oval again and again. Get in touch with 5AA to find out how we can give your business more business.
If you have a personal alert system that relies on a landline and is connected to your NBN modem, it may not work during a power failure. Upgrade today for just $99. That's 75% off normal price. For more info, go to carealert.com.au.
Scraped your caravan? Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is Roey's Sports Show.
25 minutes to 6. Mark Begley sitting in for an unwell Stephen Rowe. If you head to the 5AA live stream right now, Facebook or YouTube, you can see Mark Begley. And thanks to Cancer Council SA, you can see our next guest.
Keith, I was wondering, when you play a G, do you use the three fingers like that, or do you bar across the third fret?
Depends on where I am in the song, man.
Graham Studley Corns.
Yeah, righto.
How good is that? It never gets old. Cornsy, welcome.
G'day, Leith. G'day, Bix. What's Rowie gone down again with a cold, has he?
He has. If you heard the show yesterday, he's very scratchy.
He gave his everything in the call, and when it was close, he fires up, and it's just maybe strange.
Just doesn't push through the pain barrier, does he?
We think it's the fuffer valve that he's just burst.
And I really wanted to have a crack at him too.
About?
Well, two things. The talking footy, the walking footy that he bagged last week, and we went out on the Oval and really enjoyed that. But his comparison between Erin Phillips and Daisy Pearce, he's just a bit out of line there, I would have thought. Daisy, no one's knocking Erin Phillips' contribution to women's footy. Of course, but Daisy Pearce has had a lifetime in footy. Erin's played
it's apples and oranges, isn't it?
The last 5 or 6 years. And I thought about this, like 5 or 6 years, it's not a significant career. John Coleman went down in his 6th year, so he had basically 5 years, 98 games, but then came back and coached. So, but he had also a lifetime of playing the
Charles
game.
Brownlow was a administrator, wasn't he?
He played, but he was an administrator. I'm actually getting a gentleman sends me a whole lot of stuff through on Twitter about Charles Brownlow and how strongly supportive he was of the British war effort going into into the First World War, and how they cancelled a game of football. One of the AFL games or VFL games was cancelled because the king was sick. So he was a particularly enthusiastic royal. So I've always thought the Brownlow Medal was over. Sorry, his name attached to the Brownlow Medal was too big an honour. Given he was a fine administrator and did all, but there's so many other people in the game whose contribution is greater.
But it's all about at the time. We can go and look at the stands at Adelaide Oval, and there might be I think it's the George Giffen stand.
Yeah.
Do you know much about George? I think I've seen a statue of him, but there's other stands that have been named after administrators, and I guess at the time. What happens if a better leg spin bowler ever arrives at Shane Warne? We're not going to just hammer his name down, are we?
But anyway, so Rowie, was going to have really castigate him, but
Well,
he's not feeling well. So
plenty of time for that. So just he'll address that tomorrow. The Arrow last night on Footy Classified. I know he's reached out to Daisy Pearce today, so we'll find out latest on that. Are the Crows better than we first thought?
I think they are. I mean, I didn't give them much of a chance against Essendon, but they took the game right up to them. They beat Port Adelaide, even though Port Adelaide are sadly lacking in system at the moment. But there was something about that forward line is starting to gel with Taylor Walker back in the forward line, and those small forwards now starting to click and have Josh Rochelli's been a revelation. Rowe's played well all year, I think. Ned McHenry is getting into it, and Lockie Murphy in the last couple of games back has made a big difference. So I think, and look, the other thing that's
is it too early to tell?
Yeah,
really?
it is. It is.
The only reason I say that is they'll probably start underdogs against Richmond, and if they lose against Richmond, they'll be 1-4. The one game they've won was after the siren when they came from 3 goals down. They played a depleted Port Adelaide who haven't won a game. They bumped into Essendon. Essendon had 9 players out on the weekend of their best 22. Okay. Adelaide had every player available bar Paul Seedsman. So if you were ever going to win that game, that was it. And so I'm just worried. They haven't played any of the top 4 teams yet. Where's the next win coming from?
Wow, you are the Grinch that's spoiling Christmas.
I'm just saying, have they exceeded expectations? I reckon they're exactly where I thought they would be.
But I'm saying, are they better than we first thought? Maybe, because first going to the into the season, they'd be lucky to win a game, but they've shown something. Look, Billy Frampton back. I know Billy Frampton hasn't got the coach's total confidence. Then when we've had discussions about him, but he's been really good back. Made the odd mistake maybe with disposal, but he's strong. He's competitive. He's given some. He's running through the centre, which the big forward, the big backs of the Crows weren't doing. They weren't getting enough attack from defence. So I'm just going to watch this space.
What about Jordan Butts versus Peter Wright? How did you see that duel?
Well, this is an interesting study because right from the word go, I thought this is not a good matchup. This is not a good matchup because Peter Wright's so tall, he kicks a mile, and it was going that way. He's in the first quarter and a half, he looked like he was going to dominate. So I'm thinking, what's happening in the coach's mind? Is he going to make that change?
Frampton to Wright.
Frampton, slightly bigger. But he stayed with him. He persevered with him, and I think in the end, Jordan Butts probably came out on top.
I don't think so. 3 goals, 2 from a big key forward. Yeah, I reckon that's a pretty good return.
Yeah, but 3 goals is not. He hasn't kicked 5. He stayed with him again, and I thought Jordan Butts came into the game a bit more, and Peter Wright dropped out of it.
No, look, probably
given all the service he looked like getting. I thought it was an interesting study of a relationship between a coach and a player where the coach has decided to maintain the faith in his player, give him the confidence, and I think Jordan Butts would trust Nixie a bit more because of that.
Look, Butts wins the second half, Wright wins the first half. We call it quits after that.
And Essendon win the game, I suppose, so they win.
Port Adelaide, is there cause for optimism?
I'm looking for it. And I heard you talking about Nathan Buckley's comments and Robbo's comments. Nathan Buckley says the players look lost. Well, what does that mean?
He did qualify it by saying with ball in hand. And I must say, I went to the Hawthorn game and I saw it firsthand, not just watching on TV, and they looked perplexed. They didn't know whether to go inside. They didn't know whether to go backwards. They didn't want to go long down the line, and they just looked like they weren't certain.
I think that's a lack of system.
That's exactly what it is.
A lack of system where they probably need clearer instructions to. I mean, are you going to take the game on, or are you going to try and maintain possession? It looked like their strategy was to deny Melbourne the ball by maintaining possession with short, uncontested kicks with uncontested marks. But all that did was allow Jackson and Max Gawn to drop back in defence.
May, Lever.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. I thought they went small enough in their forward line to, if they brought the ball to ground, they could create a bit of havoc, but it just didn't work out that way. And Melbourne, well, they got the best defence in the competition, I think, in terms of personnel. They got great forwards, really good, and they've got the best midfield, probably the best ruckman. So, I mean,
And the best second ruckman, I reckon.
He's going to be a star, that kid. But
They went to Sam May 7 times.
yeah, I heard you say that. So,
They went to Todd Marshall 0, who
Was
kicked 5 the week before.
but was that intentional, or did they think that?
I think it's intentional. The Couch, we'll try and get the audio. The Couch absolutely tore Port Adelaide apart for that. Cornsey, hold on.
Did they just quickly? Did they think that the two big intercept defenders were going to work off of Toddy
Correct.
Marshall, so they go to Mays, who has a habit of kicking goals, but not last week.
But you're a key forward. You'd want the ball, wouldn't you? If you're Todd Marshall, you say, I'm going to anchor here.
Coming
and
off 5 the week before.
I'm the man in this team. Kick it to me. Don't kick it to Sam Mays.
Well, yeah, any true forward worth his weight in salt clears everybody else out, but and he wants space. But I'm not sure Toddy Martin. None of those Port Adelaide forwards, even Charlie Dixon, they don't seem to have a natural instinct for leading. You know, every kick Charlie Dixon gets, every mark, he has to get it the hard way.
Yeah. That's where I think Nathan was going with the lost. Hold on to your other segments. We're going to take a short break. After this, Ash Hanson's going to join us from Carlton. They play Port Adelaide. Port a chance to get a win on the board. First, let's check the traffic for your drive home. And if you are buying your first Mazda, trading in or servicing, edwardstownmazda.com.au.
Look out for a smash at Salisbury, Mawson Road near Brand Terrace. Got restrictions in place there, so find an alternative route if you can. Regency Park, twisted traffic light, South Road near Katia Streets, and we've got gasworks at Bedford Park. It's on Sturt Road near Bradley Grove, heading towards the beach, one lane out of action. Quite busy at the moment, Anzac Highway at South Road, and we've got cameras Doothie Street, Malvern, Tapley's Hill Road at Seaton. Amazon's Big Smile Sale is live now. Shop epic deals on electronics, homewares, beauty and more. Search amazon.com.au/Big Smile Sale today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The crowd roars as the scores are level deep in the last quarter with a snap from the boundary. The players are celebrating on the field, but Sarah's feeling the real excitement with her mates in the crowd. It's another game day in the Host Plus Sandful League, and Sarah's found the perfect way to catch up with friends.
For all those game day vibes, don't miss the Host Plus Sample League this weekend. Nothing beats it. Visit sample.com.au for match info.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
The reason why we became an NRG Solar customer was because primarily we trusted Michael, and we've seen a lot of stuff on the internet about how cheap and nasty some of the goods were and some of the services. And Michael explained to us what NRG Solar did, and it seemed to us the logical way to go. We didn't seek other quotes because we were very trusting of Michael's expertise and that of the implementers of the system.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Caritas Retirement Villages presents The Blue Brick Road. This one-day event showcases the best in independent retirement living. There'll be 5 stops featuring 5 Caritas villages with complimentary catering and entertainment along the way. If you're thinking about right-sizing, just follow The Blue Brick Road on Wednesday, April 27th. Call Caritas Retirement Villages today to book a free tour on 1300 796 311. Caritas Retirement Villages, building better communities.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics, but what do you get? Try next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
What's for dinner? Coles have over 100 easy recipes for you to try, all made with 5 ingredients in 30 minutes or less. Head to coles.com.au right now to find out what's for dinner. That's value the Australian way at Coles.
The original MasterChef winner, Julie Goodwin!
Julie's back.
Don't be nervous.
It's like saying, don't be 51.
MasterChef, fans and favourites. Starts Easter Monday on 10.
Walker Crash Repairs. For easy insurance repairs on your caravan, get it fixed right with Walker Crash Repairs.
This is Roey's Sports Show.
12 minutes to 6, Mark Begley sitting in for Stephen Rowe. Graham Corns is here. We'll speak to Ash Hansen from the Blues in a second. Bit of a banana peel on the weekend, unfortunately. Fingers crossed they can turn that around against Port Adelaide. We have 2022 Team Coach AFL cards to give away and a card album valued at $117 from Sports Card World in the Region Arcade. First two callers through. 8223 0055. You win yourself some footy cards.
Good prize. Good prize.
Indeed.
So Port Adelaide looking for their first win, Bix, and they'll take on the Baggers this weekend.
Yeah, and a man who actually sat in the big chair a couple of weeks back, Ash Hansen, who is at the Carlton Footy Club, and he joins us now. Ash, welcome to the show.
Good evening. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Firstly, let's talk about a couple of weeks back. Michael Voss, with COVID protocols, you had a chance to steer the ship. How did you find it?
Yeah, it was a good experience and certainly an amazing development opportunity that you wouldn't normally get. So the unique situation called for it, and it was a good experience to have the week in the chair and see what's involved.
Hey, Ash, during the game, was Vossi in contact with you?
He wasn't in contact with me directly. He was listening to what was going on in the box, but from his end, he found it hard to hear with a lot of voices and obviously the game moving so fast. But certainly he had access to me if he wanted to contribute things. And throughout the game, he made some observations and certainly supported some of our decision-making. But the empowerment and the responsibility he handed over was quite amazing and one that I was grateful for because it made the experience, I suppose, as genuine as it's going to be.
Good start to the season. Can you tell us what Vossi's brought to the club and the team that perhaps wasn't there last year?
Well, unfortunately, Graham, I wasn't there last year because I've joined with Michael, so I've only been, I suppose, privy to the values and the philosophies that he's embedded from the start, and certainly the strong connection piece throughout each line in the way we play the game, and that's flowed on from a connection piece off the field and how close the guys are to one another and creating a program that reflects that is probably the biggest piece of the connection. And then from a training and preparation point of view, having a real balanced approach to our game style with some really specific intentions towards our training and what we're trying to get out of it. And challenging the players to really drive that and explore, their understanding of what we're taking and learning in the classroom out onto the field, which I know he did a lot of work in that space at Port Adelaide. So they're probably the two main things that have come across from what I've seen.
Train as you play. Was that what you're saying? You hope to train as you play?
Essentially, yeah. That really specific approach to training and making it as game-like as possible and really challenging the players in different ways to navigate, scenarios they face in a game and then translating, the classroom to the on-field and training environments, which can be challenging, but that's our role as a coach to try to put those players in those positions. So, we've certainly seen some growth in that aspect over the summer and the early weeks of the season.
I guess the other challenging part, of course, is you manage the ups and downs and the emotions, and you've had 3 good wins. You go to Metricon Stadium and everyone expects you to win. What went wrong up there?
Oh, we faced a really good opponent in Gold Coast who were the better team on the night. Certainly their stoppage dominance gave them field position, and we didn't have the capacity in this game to be able to move the ball out of our back half to really create those turnovers that turn into scores. So there was certainly a drop-off in our intensity and commitment to the contest. There was a spike in theirs off their performance against the Giants, and that's where the game starts, and we certainly weren't at our best on the weekend. So it was a good leveler and reminder of what the game demands.
Well, you lost your captain, one of your prime movers at half-time. How is he, and when will you get him back?
Yeah, it's not as bad as first reported with Cripper. He's had scans and been assessed today, so it's minor damage. So I think he'll just miss the week, and then we'll get him back, which is pleasing to know because sometimes they can be a lot worse.
Just miss a week with a hamstring. Gee, it must have been.
Yeah, it's only minor. He played out the quarter, and he was assessed a quarter time, and the conservative approach was made. He's never had hamstring damage before, which is a big tick, obviously, with these injuries. So there's no residual scar tissue there, from my understanding. So, it's a good result.
Gee, Ash, you and I, we wouldn't have gone off with that, would we?
If you knew my playing career, I'd tell you what, I would have ruptured the whole hamstring.
Hey, Ash, when you're coaching against a team and you come up against them, they haven't won a game, and they're, it seems like the world's against them, you're always a little bit fearful. I hope they don't break through against us. How do you go preparing for Port Adelaide this week?
Yeah, well, I think it comes from our consistency week to week with the way we prepare and really respect the opposition, and certainly the humility piece is quite big for us and in the game, because the moment you underestimate an opponent is the one where they'll jump you, and certainly we've got to discover our own response. So, for the first time this year, the guys are coming off a loss where they're really disappointed in their performance. So we see it as a fantastic opportunity to respond to our own game and get that back on track and continue to chase us and what we do well even more. So we've got plenty to play for, for our own season, and it's another great challenge for the group to show the resilience that they want to be known for.
One final one, Ash, and it's hard not to be impressed, and you talked about leadership with Sam Doherty, the humility, you talked about that again. I saw a piece a couple of weeks back when he made his return to footy. He is just such an impressive guy, and his form has been really good since coming back into the team.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary. He made round one, knowing that was his goal coming into the season, and we probably questioned it to a certain extent because we saw him at the start of pre-season and the shape he was in after, obviously serious cancer treatment. But his dedication to the cause and commitment and drive has been inspiring to the group, and he certainly makes us a better team with his ability to play the role he does across half-back, and his experience for a lot of guys is invaluable. So, yeah, we've been blessed to have him back, and certainly he's inspired many within the four walls, and we just hope that he continues to have a real clean run and get that continuity in his game, because he was an All-Australian, a few years ago, and to get him back to that level would be an amazing story for the game and for our footy club.
Yeah, everyone would hope that and wish that for him too, I think. Ash, I don't know whether I can say good luck, but...
yes, you can. Good luck, Ash. Ash, I know a radio announcer and his son who was at the game last year at the Adelaide Oval, and Port kicked the last 14 goals, so you owe him one. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it, boys.
Ash Hansen, assistant coach at the Carlton Footy Club. Carlton fans can become an official Carlton member, $20 a month, discounted ticket to the round 20 game against the Crows Bix. 1300 Carlton or carltonfc.com.au/membership.
And he's impressed everyone, Ash Hansen, that you speak to in AFL circles, of course, working his way up the coaching ladder, and found himself in the chair and did a really good job a couple of weeks ago, back when they beat the Bulldogs.
And there's something about Carlton, isn't there? The AFL would be willing Carlton to have to improve, to have a good year, because that massive supporter base is just sleeping.
We do have to go before you go. Ash coached when Vossi was out with COVID. Jamie Graham's coached when Longmuir was out with COVID. And now we have Brendan Lade coaching for Brett Radden. Corns, you got one final thought. Would you like to talk about Paddy Ryder or the return of the quill to Sam McClure?
Well, I see they've restored the quill to Sam McClure after an independent review. It changes nothing. I mean, they made that decision based on the fact that when the original panel who made the decision was formed, it was depleted, and he didn't get a chance to defend himself, and there was no representation from the Age. But it doesn't change the fact that those articles were discredited, they were removed, apologies were issued, and expenses were paid. So,
what happens if, as many are suspecting, something comes out in Eddie Betts's book that affirms what Sam McClure and Caroline Wilson wrote? What happens then?
Well, it would have come out. It would have come out by now, and yes, you might get a perspective that's negative from Eddie, but that's one or two players. I mean, you've been on training camps, Bix. There's a handful of players who hate them and could complain about them, and if we took the negatives out of every training camp and splashed them around in the media and highlighted them, you could make any training camp sound horrible. And with the Melbourne players, they virtually went on strike after their training camps, and refused to go on the following year. So it's not unusual for players not to enjoy training camps. But what is obvious is there has not been this the drama and the tragedy and the ridiculous comments that were made. They've been completely discredited.
Well, I'm holding my judgment because...
What do you think? What's going to come out?
I don't know.
In Eddie's book.
Well, I don't know, but I know that there is...
Well, that Eddie couldn't ring home Eddie didn't ring home when he could have.
I don't know, but I'm just saying everyone is saying there will be something in there. So reserve your judgment until we have all the information.
I reckon you two can fight about it outside because the book's called The Boy from Boomerang Crescent. It's out on Father's Day and we'll all find out then. Thank you, Bix, for sitting in.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Cornsey, great to see you as always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, see you next week. They're still going to fight on. Blakey and Sports Day next.
Wow, this is a really fruity bouquet. It's complex, yet gentle on the palate.